Ready to explore 2025's boldest web design trends? From voice search to sustainable web design, let's dive into the immersive, interactive, and AI-powered future of web design. Ready to dive headfirst into the web design trends of tomorrow? From AI to anti-design and even sustainability, the digital world is evolving fast, and it's packed with inspiration for designers, content creators, and creatives like you. From voice search changing how users navigate the web to choose your own adventure landing pages raising the bar for UX, the future of web design is all about creating tailored, immersive experiences, and this is just the beginning. No matter where you are in your web design journey, we've got your back. Let's dive into our boldest predictions for 2025 and load up on tips to make your designs pop and stay ahead of the curve. 1. Playful and interactive websites. Encourage engagement with a web design trend that invites users to get involved, like Melbourne-based multidisciplinary artist Bessie Orpin's playful website, which features local times and weather and a game that challenges visitors to find pet rocks while scrolling through her portfolio. This UX-driven approach champions personality and personalization, and in 2025, we expect immersive experiences to stop being a novelty and start being the norm. That's because interactive and choose-your-own-adventure websites are an opportunity to delight users and challenge your creativity. There are designers who stick to one style, and that's great for them, says freelance web designer Maddie Neiman. But I get bored with that. I like pushing myself to try something new, step out of my comfort zone, and experiment with trends. It keeps me curious and constantly evolving. Creative developer Bruno Simon offers a great example of this approach, asking users to navigate his site by driving a car via the arrow keys. Zooming from projects to contact details and hitting H to sound the horn, the game combines an old-school vibe with a modern interface, making his website's UX as fun as it is unique. But as CSS expert Andy Clark says, don't do things differently for the sake of being different but because it's thoughtful. Don't move a search box just to be quirky, it's about intentional choices. 2. The impact of AI, both good and bad, increases. Artificial intelligence is making web design more effortless and accessible. Now, these tools can analyze your preferences, suggest attention-grabbing layouts, and instantly revise designs. As a result, what once required hours, or days, of coding can now be achieved almost instantly with AI website builders that create customized sites, all while taking care of the behind-the-scenes stuff. For example, Elementor AI, Wix ADI, and Squarespace Assistant all have intuitive and drag-and-drop interfaces, integrated marketing and e-commerce tools, and mobile optimization features to make web design more accessible than ever. Plus, it's even easier to build a website using these increasingly sophisticated intelligent platforms thanks to the availability of step-by-step YouTube tutorials and online guides. I think more and more people can become web designers now because of the many tools we have at our disposal, says Maddie. AI is part of that, but even things like component libraries, UI kits, and Figma plugins make it easier for us to create. As business owners, and not just freelancers, we can now do much more as one person, and that's really exciting. Simplified and streamlined processes are making it easier for people to enter the industry. But what about web designers who've spent serious time perfecting their craft? Well, we're looking on the bright side. The world of website building is rapidly changing, but rather than making web designers obsolete, see it as an opportunity to raise the bar by exploring emerging trends, like the ones we're talking about here, and embracing time-saving tools. Like image generators that produce high-quality visuals without the need to learn prompt engineering. These give designers more time to focus on other aspects of their work. It's not just about automation. These tools allow us to be more efficient and creative, says Yuji Sakiya, senior product designer at Envato. 3. Anti-design and brutalism are back. When Charli XCX told Instagram followers she narrowed down around 65 shades of green to the final most ultimate shade of brat green, we knew a new wave of anti-design had officially arrived. With its slightly distorted Arial font and low-resolution look, the album artwork for Brat quickly grabbed attention everywhere. This rejection of perfection proved so popular among Gen Z that it promptly transitioned from pop to politics, adopted by Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. This trend is about breaking traditional aesthetic rules, so don't be afraid to embrace your inner brat. From cluttercore to experimental typography, you have to push those boundaries. Asymmetrical layouts and extreme unbalance? Do it. Overlapping artwork and clashing colors? Hard yes. Brutalism is back, too, featuring bold typography, simple layouts, and unpolished elements like monochrome colors, grid-based designs, and minimal imagery. Seen across the covers of Raw magazine and Take a Walk on the Wild Side, this approach rejects sleekness and embraces an authentic, utilitarian feel that stands out through its boldness and honesty. Of course, we've seen anti-design before, rising to peak popularity in the 1990s, but this resurgence isn't afraid to swap out maximalism for minimalism to increase online impact. As WordPress whiz Jamie Marsland says, "I'm a big fan of brutalism in architecture and web design." But on the other hand, we also see many minimalist designs happening right now, especially with tools like WordPress. It's interesting to see how these trends coexist. For a voice search dominates the mainstream. Alexa, is voice search an integral part of website UX? Ask Amazon's virtual assistant, or Siri or Cortana, for that matter, and the answer is a resounding yes. Big brands like Sephora, Walmart, and Home Depot are already leveraging voice search. In doing so, they are revolutionizing online shopping by streamlining product discovery and adding an extra layer of convenience for customers. As users adapt to talking rather than typing, web designers need to focus on optimizing for voice commands and conversational content, in addition to traditional text-based SEO. This way, you can meet the needs of businesses that want to offer an inclusive, interactive, and intuitive search experience. We predict that the rise of voice search will mean it's essential for sites to serve up results fast with pages that load quickly and feature direct answers to common questions. And humble brag, we're bang on trend with the rollout of Envato's newly launched Sounds Like search feature, which makes it easier than ever to find what you're looking for with just your voice. So listen up. Now's the time to learn about voice search optimization, a content marketing trend that can improve your site's online presence and ensure it appears in voice searches. 5. Sustainable web design becomes a priority. We know creating a great website feels, well, great. But knowing it contributes to carbon emissions? Not so much. That's where sustainable web design comes in, prioritizing an eco-friendly approach. While it might seem counterintuitive, there are plenty of ways web designers and web developers can minimize the carbon footprint associated with their digital products. For instance, sustainable design can include optimizing images and videos for reduced data transfer, using responsive design techniques for all devices, and adopting energy-efficient coding practices and web hosting services. In other words, consider making choices that help reduce energy consumption in data centers and users' devices while delivering great functionality and a robust user experience. Businesses and brands are also reinforcing their commitment to sustainability and underconsumption, communicating their eco-credentials. From minimalist designs and nature-inspired imagery, like The Honest Consumer, to these bright, fun designs from Sustainable Baddie and Rewrite, sustainable brands and businesses everywhere are proving that eco-friendly doesn't have to mean green. 6. Less reliance on tools and trending formats. Advances in tech and design tools mean that some coveted formats, think motion graphics and 3D interfaces, are now easier to achieve than ever. But what happens when cool creative becomes commonplace? I'm seeing a lot of Webflow sites that look very similar: animations, rounded edges, clean designs, says Maddie. It was exciting when I first saw it. Everything was so sleek and minimal and I loved it, but now it's starting to feel repetitive. Think about the rise of Spline and 3JS. You can now use these 3D design software tools to create interactive experiences in browsers. This is great for web designers, web developers, and content creators who want to integrate rotating objects, virtual environments, or interactive product displays into their sites. But as the 3D trend reaches saturation point, UG warns, there's a risk is falling into safe, cookie-cutter designs. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's pushing the boundaries. The same goes for motion. It's brilliant for keeping users interested and guiding them down the page, like the sunny graphics and rising bubbles used by Mana Yerba Mate to introduce its effervescent tea drink, but not so brilliant when there's so much movement that the navigation becomes muddled. As UI designer Adi Pertl acknowledges, motion design is amazing, but when it's overused, it becomes a problem. There's a point where too much animation can overwhelm a site, and that's when it stops being functional. The moral of the story? Just because we have the tools for enhanced UX and design, we don't always have to use them. As a result, we believe 2025 will see more thoughtful, unique, and restrained use of motion graphics and 3D interfaces. 7. Back to basics. A return to design fundamentals. While tech and AI can do a lot of the heavy lifting in web design, fancy flourishes can only get creatives so far in today's rapidly evolving and overcrowded digital space. We forecast a solution that involves a return to design fundamentals. So many factors make everything look the same these days. And I'm not just talking about flat design or whether your buttons are round, sharp, glossy, or flat, says Andy. I'm talking about layout, typography, and the fundamentals of design. Most of the people creating what we see on screens haven't even been taught design. Sites like Understanding Accessibility teach us how to apply typography, animations, and images to make them more accessible and easily understood. Additionally, principles like color psychology can guide designers in eliciting emotional impact and user actions through simple design choices. By reducing the bells and whistles, you can allow a website's key message to shine through. Handcrafted techniques such as collage art, as seen in this website designed by Super Keen, are an easy way to return to basics and reclaim creative control over AI and digital tools. By introducing organic elements, like hand-drawn illustrations or natural textures, we add authenticity to digital designs. It's a way to make something truly unique, says Yuji. 8. A human touch. Designers embrace imperfection. While many of 2025's trends center around the appeal of AI, this trend celebrates the authentic imperfections that make us human. In response to AI's overly polished look, many designers are now embracing organic, imperfect elements that feel handmade and personal. This approach is reminiscent of the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi, which celebrates beauty in imperfection. It's about bringing that human touch and nature into design. I think there's room to apply this philosophy in digital spaces, not just aesthetically but also functionally, says Yuji. Sites like Rhea and Earth Alliance feel connected to the world around us through their natural color palettes, off-center alignment, and organic imagery and materials. The trend is driven by the balance between tech and human craft, as Maddie comments. As trends evolve, I'm craving something more human, something with a personal touch. AI is part of my workflow, but I still want my designs to feel like they were made by human hands. For designers craving this vibe, check out our Back to Basics blog post, which features everything from botanical design to raw, organic shapes. Web design trends for 2025. Inspiration for your next creative project. Staying on top of web design trends is key, not just for designers and developers, but for anyone who wants to make their mark online. Tap into user demand by considering voice search and sustainable design in your next project. Also, consider how AI might influence your work. Will you try these time-saving tools to save time or opt for a more human touch? Whatever your creative approach, level up your web design skills with these helpful tutorials and courses on Tuts Plus, and keep up with what's trending by checking out our music trends predictions for 2025.